eBay auctions are not nearly as popular as they once were back in the late 90s or early 2000s. The market has largely shifted away from auctions, so a lot of people would rather just buy something right now, so they'll go straight for fixed price listings. Some people won't even look at auctions at all. So this is something to keep in mind as both a buyer and a seller on eBay, whether you're buying lightsabers or whether you're buying anything really. But let's talk about this shifting trend as it relates to lightsabers. And let's talk about both the angle of the buyer and the angle of the seller. So starting off with the buyer, I've mentioned this in several videos before that you can really find some good deals these days on eBay auctions. And that's because the seller will price something relatively low and they hope that the item will get bid up very high. And so sometimes you're able to save some money. So like on a lightsaber, I mean, it really depends. You could save $50, $100. It varies. I mean, some of it can depend, how well the item is described, who's selling it, if they have a good track record or not. It can also depend even when the listing ends. So if somebody ends the listing at a really strange time, then you might be able to exploit that kind of weakness in the listing. So at any rate, as a buyer, I would encourage you, at least occasionally, if you're looking for lightsabers, just, kind of look in the auction section every now and then. Something might pop up that you like, and on top of that, you may be able to find a good deal on that. Now, switching gears to the seller. So if you are considering selling something at auction on eBay, like a lightsaber, you want to be careful. So first of all, I would recommend don't list your item too low. So this is the flip side of what I was just saying. Great part about being a buyer on eBay, looking at auctions, is you can get a low price. So the other side of that coin is if you're the seller, well, your listing is ending a little lower than you might expect. So for certain things, you might want to start it at least at a point where you'd be comfortable with the listing ending around that. That's a very good rule of thumb. And for the most part, I would recommend as a seller, if you have the time, it may make more sense for you to do a fixed price listing. So if you can sit on it for a while and just, let it stay there, fixed price is kind of a nice way to go. Now, there are certain cases where an auction may be better for you. If you have a unique item and it's, somewhat rare, then you may want to go with auction just simply because you don't know exactly what it's valued at. On the flip side, though, you could always, list it as fixed price and list it a lot higher than maybe you're expecting and wait for buyers to make some offers to you. So there are really several directions you can go with this, you guys, and you can leverage auctions still as both a buyer and as a seller, but you need to take the right approach with it. And as always, both parties need to do a lot of research. As a buyer, research the seller, make sure you read the description very clearly, and if there's any hint of a doubt in your mind at anything about the listing, make sure you reach out to that seller, ask him about it. And as a seller, make sure, just try to anticipate these buyer questions and just try to describe the item as best as you can and describe any imperfections if it's used, or, well, even if it's new, if there's an imperfection, you should definitely let people know. So at any rate, that's just a few of my thoughts about eBay auctions. There's definitely a trend away from them, but you may be able to get a good deal as a buyer, and as a seller, you also may be able to get a good deal. You may get your item bid up more. And in addition, some people will use auctions as well just because they want to offload something. That's definitely another benefit to a seller. An auction creates a sort of urgency, and, if you're comfortable with the item ending at a lower price, you'll probably get some bidding action in there too. But those are just a few thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Have you gotten some good deals on lightsabers on eBay? Have you sold lightsabers on eBay or anything like that? Let me know.